What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. I am Justin, joined live with Meelz, or by Meelz, whichever one. I don't know what's grammatically correct. What's up, Meelz?
Whoa, we're here. Everything feels good. Of course, the sounds of New York City right behind me. The gentrified New York City, by the way. We are here. Do you have that problem in
But
LA where people are having these pseudo discussions about gentrification and who contributed to it and memories of like this is how LA used to be back in 2012.
I, I, I would say I mean, I've been here
But
eight
you came
years.
in 2015. Yeah, so you came
Yeah,
in.
I've
So
been here
you're
8 years.
you're allegedly part of the problem. Allegedly.
Absolutely not. It's absolutely not. I'm not. But because I mean, I left very little of a I want to say like a residential footprint on anything. Like I didn't
Hmm.
go rent out the most expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never done that. But like I don't want to disrespect where I live at. You know what I'm saying? I'm very respectful to this area and the people that live here. Um,
Hmm.
so like I do understand that like there is a conversation that happens about it, but I just think that LA people do not go on Twitter for hours to do that type of thing. And I would say, you know what I'm saying? I would say that that's probably like the thing that they don't do. But I mean, obviously, Inglewood is ripe for gentrification right now. It's actually being renovated all over. Just in time for WrestleMania next year. So they're pushing people
Damn.
out. Yeah, they're pushing
We're
people.
the problem. No.
They're pushing people to East LA, and that is the area where a lot of black and brown people are, and obviously you have extenuating circumstances such as gangs and poverty and stuff like that, and that's just going to make that situation even worse. You know what I'm saying? So like that is definitely a thing here. What I saw on Twitter today was mostly people complaining about rent prices and places being owned by black people and
Yeah.
stuff like that, that's like that's part of the issue. But I think like more than anything is like, why are we finger pointing people for colonization is really an American thing. Let's just be real. People are doing the same thing that their forefathers have always done. Ain't nobody moving to Alabama for no shit like that. They're not moving to Idaho. There's a reason why they're not moving to Idaho. Ain't shit to do out there.
I mean, to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, you know, it's so wild. I was having a conversation actually with one of my actually it's a very old white coworker who used to live in the same neighborhood as my dad currently lives. And my dad, we used to live in a neighborhood and used to be like predominantly like West Indian people, and now it's definitely like way whiter than it is. And he was just like, yeah, white people came in and like kind of just messed everything up. You know what I'm saying? And for the last number of years, I don't say it's necessarily messed everything up, but it makes me definitely look back at like, yo, we never had these amenities when we were living here dirt poor. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
for I started going to the gym when I was a kid, when I was in high school, because high school was the only place where they had a gym. Like that's the only place I learned to work out there. I learned to do everything there, but it was at school. So if I wasn't at school, I wasn't working out. And for years, I remember looking for an actual gym. I
Right.
would get on the train and go far. I would go to the YMCA, and it took me an hour to get to the YMCA, but I would go to the YMCA, work out for 30 minutes, and then have to take the train back and have to essentially take another like 40 minutes to an hour commute back home. And I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy. And then, once kind of everything started happening, you see a lot more gyms popping up. You see a lot more certain amenities popping up, bike things, bike lanes, all these other stuff like that. And I was like, damn, this is kind of crazy how they treat us. Because we ain't had none of this shit when we were dirt poor. We ain't have none of this shit when it was just, us living in these neighborhoods. And I guess it wasn't as many transplants as they were. And,
Major
so
metropolitan area. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I was
And
also looking on like the architecture too, because like they're building these buildings so high up, and it's ridiculous when you put them in neighborhoods where all these essentially all the houses are kind of like a very similar height, and now you're building these like 18-story apartment, condo, co-op situations, and it just looks like it's just kind of like ruining the neighborhood, or at least it just ruins the warmth of the neighborhood and stuff like that. So uh, gentrification, man.
Yeah,
It's
it really is. It really is terrible. A lot of it that happens, but it's like don't like a lot
don't
of
blame each other for it. That
yeah, a lot of the blame. That's what I was gonna say. A lot of the blame falls on property owners. Falls on landlords. It falls on the government. Like our infrastructure in America is terrible. Like
yeah,
think about the we live in the two. Me and you live in the two biggest metropolitan cities, and there's no space for anyone here. You know what I mean?
right.
I'm trying to find a place to live right now. You know what I mean? I have to live outside of the city. So like for people to be like, oh, you come in and I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm trying to I live comfortably, but I know that I'm not, not trying to live in the city. You know what I'm saying? Like people from here know that that's not possible. You know what I mean? Like that's just crazy.
Right.
So like it is crazy. And I think that I think on Twitter people just love to fight all the time. And
Nah, that's really it. Because it was grown into a conversation that I kind of felt like I've seen similar situation with wrestling. Like I remember the dude who just like when AEW ratings were bad and they were blaming us for like not supporting other black wrestlers by watching AEW. I was like, it's not on us to put these black wrestlers in great positions. It's really up to Tony Khan or Vince McMahon or any of the. It's not. I mean, yes, we can watch, but there's only so much that we can do to make effective change. It has to kind of go through them, who has the kind of last stop on this. So I was seeing that conversation grow into that, and that's what made me say, it's like, yo, why are we really like, yes, we're definitely, there's a part of it that's like reactionary to all these new transplants in business, and they want money, right? And they know that all these people who come from out of, get these jobs in here from possibly out of state coming in, and they're coming in with money, and they want to say, okay, here are the properties for them, or just a lifestyle for them, or neighborhoods for them, or something along those lines. But
Mhm.
it's really like, I don't want to start this like internal war with like it's these people doing it,
Yeah.
Um except WrestleMania. Yo, they announced WrestleMania so early this year. What was up with that?
I think I've done a lot of asking around and also a lot of just analysis myself. I think a lot of factors really go into that. One of them being, as we talk about gentrification and stuff like that, Sophie Stadium is a new venue, and it is probably maybe 2 times more expensive than AT&T Stadium is. So I'm guessing that they figure Mania's hasn't been here in 10 years. That's one of the factors. So, they expect that there'll either be people on the fence or it'll be rabid, and then they can see what it looks like by the end of the year, but also that it's going to be a lot more expensive for people to fly into here because LA is just expensive in general. So they can't do the regular, what was it, 5 to 6 month lead in that they usually do. I think
Mm-hmm.
9 to 10 months seems to be the most realistic for them. And I think it's going to allow them to avoid a money in the bank situation, I think.
I mean, I'm looking, and all of that completely makes sense. And we're looking at it too. I remember, when we were coming up with the GoFundMe. I mean, we were talking about it with Victor and stuff like that. And we are going over prices and stuff like that. Um, we were trying to figure out, all right, what's going to be the best price point we need to raise to truly make this thing happen. And the reason why that price point, I mean, and make sure you guys go donate to the GoFundMe, of course, to send the Wrestling Cup to WrestleMania. But the reason why that price point is $15,000 is because it legitimately might be $15,000 to get these people over
Yeah,
to
no,
WrestleMania. Like five
absolutely.
people over to WrestleMania, it might be $15,000, and to have a good time and to eat, to travel, to you know,
And we set
hopefully get something from Access or something.
we set that number not knowing that it would be out so early, but we set that number based on like what I know of how things operate out here. Like when I went to Dallas this year, I didn't know how anything operated. It ended up being a lot less than we thought. Like other than Ubers, it was like pretty much really easy to eat, really easy to like get around. You know what I'm saying? Ubers ended up being like maybe 15-20 bucks at a time, but unless you were leaving from the venue at WrestleMania, so that would be about 50 bucks because of just the
Hmm.
surge. But like expect that to go up to 100, 120, and depending on where you stay. So if you're staying outside the city, SoFi is in Inglewood, so the closest thing you got there is El Segundo, where LAX is. You
Hmm.
can try to go to like South Bay and stuff like that, but that's outside the city. That you'll be paying a premium for that. You know what I mean? Marina Del Rey, all that shit. If you want to like be somewhere nice, if you're going into the city, that's still a drive. You know what I'm saying? So Uber is gonna be about around 40, $50 for you. So like if y'all listening to this and you thinking about LA WrestleMania, start putting your ducks in a row right now. I would say that I don't expect them to sell out the day of because it's just so far ahead, but I think they know that. And plus there's been no matches announced. So like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like they know that this is going to be pretty much like they're going to be selling it right up to the point of when it happens. There's 70K plus seats there. I would say right now you should probably start saving. Really,
I mean, I've been trying. It's tough, but I've really been trying. I don't know because I mean, just the flight prices themselves, man. Just to even get there is rough in itself, and not everybody has it. I mean, we're talking about like real life stuff, right? Um, and we alluded to some of this in a previous show before, but we talking about real life stuff in terms of like rent is going up like
mm-hmm.
across the board, like across it's going up. Prices for things are going up. I mean, salaries may not be going up, but everything else
For
is
some people, for you, shit.
yeah. I, hey, but everything is starting to cost more. You know what I'm saying? Like inflation. I mean, people talk about recession that potentially we may enter in. It's
It's
real, so just be
be careful.
prepared.
Yeah, be careful out there, man. Be careful out there. I want to see everybody at Mania, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see everybody there. So, be safe, be careful. Stop bringing gentrification conversations into a platform like Twitter where no one has any type of context as to how to actually do these things.
Right.
Like I don't trust a large amount of people. There's so many people like, I can't believe you're saying this. We used to party together. I'm like, bro, get out of here, man.
No, fuck
Get out
out
of
of
here.
here.
Yeah, we're not trying to hear that shit, man. Get over it. Get over it, man. Is there any other loose ends? We got to tie up. Spot Callers is coming out in the next couple of days. Meelz, are you gonna be joining us or not? Are you gonna come out next month?
I'll probably have to hold off till next month. I have not watched it. I've been watching so many other various things and preparing for, a whole bunch of other stuff. I didn't get to watch The Bash yet, so I probably won't be on it. But I'll be there in spirit
So me and Cyrus
while I'm
had to
listening.
watch. Me and Cyrus had to watch the Bash 2009. We're gonna have some words for the patrons on that episode. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be interesting because we get to talk about 2009, 2010, all pre pipe bomb booking for WWE was very
Mm,
interesting. You're in a moment in a time where they were like, we do not know what to do, and we have
mm,
these guys that are getting older, and we got new guys that are not connecting. Let's try some things.
absolutely. I do. You know what? I do want to. So I was listening to. First of all, I was listening to the War Report last week, and heard Cyrus and Quan. I didn't get my tickets. What the hell happened? And they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I didn't get a ticket. I didn't get a ticket." We found out essentially what had happened was, all right. So of course we have the merch coming up. The merch is coming very soon, by the way,
Have
before
people
the end of
seen
the
it? No
month.
one's seen it yet, right? Oh, people have seen us wear it. Yeah.
People have seen us, so if you've seen, you can go to Armand's Instagram page. He's wearing the shirt. You can see some various stuff online. You see Justin posted the tickets sometime last week. So we've been sending out tickets alongside with the t-shirt as well. I sent some, of course, to the crew early. They got it. Apparently I didn't do a great enough job packaging them, or maybe they're just little kids who just rip the thing up and then throw out the bag afterwards. But nonetheless,
I
their
think the
tickets
latter.
have been
I think the latter is true.
but they did get tickets, and I guess it was just still in the bag, and they threw out the bag, and now they no longer have tickets. So
To
there's
be
two more
fair,
spots open on
to
the
be
revenge
fair,
tour.
to be fair, I don't know how you could have crumpled that bag up and not felt something hard in the bag because that's exactly what I almost did. And I said, is there an extra like tag in it or something like that? Like, is there an extra like like you put it on the bag like the sensor thing, whatever it's called. Um
Mhm.
I was like, what is this? And I said, oh, it's the tickets. It's like, I'm like, unless y'all felt nothing on your hands, maybe I just got soft hands that are receptive to everything. There's no way
Mm.
you didn't know that there was tickets in there. There's no way, right?
No, there should be no way, but I don't know. Modern, whatever. Nonetheless,
You see,
So
did you hit a millennial?
I yes, essentially. Nonetheless, merch will be dropping very, very soon. It should be before the end of this month. So make sure you guys look out for it. I'm gonna do a whole full rollout on it, but the merch is definitely there. It'll be available for pre-order. What I'll say is be ready for when the pre-order drops. So put in all your guys' orders so I can order this huge thing all at once and send them out to you. And all the patrons who have been main eventer or Hall of Fame patrons have got theirs already or should have theirs by the time that this comes out. So yeah, it's a
Cornell, it's on the way. Cornell, it's on the way.
nah, it's definitely on the way. Like the reason why his take a little bit apparently, some people who are closer to me, who are closer to New York City, get it before people who aren't as close to New York City. Um, so people who are in Jersey get it usually the day after, and people who are in Florida usually 2 or 3 business days. But I still think that's pretty quick. I mean, to be honest with you, I ordered a lot of stuff from a lot of people this summer. I ain't get it yet. The summer about to be over. I'm about to have to wear coats and stuff. I'm about to have to start looking for coats. So I'm concerned about that.
Well,
But
get you advanced in leather. You were now. Anyway.
what? Bleep that out.
I don't even. What was the time step? Well, I'll bleep it out. Whatever. We're gonna go to Patreon. We'll be right back. If you're on Patreon, obviously you're gonna get this right now. But we'll be right back on the A Show. All right, we're back in public. No holds barred. We are truly in the dog days of summer. in
More
every
ways than one, man.
in every way, shape, and form of this thing, we're struggling, brother. We're struggling. Is there any news? I mean,
Okay, so I've been circling, of course, to dailysmark.com. Make sure you guys go to thedailysmark.com to get all your wrestling news and everything of the sort. First little bit of news. First of all, it looks like Clash of the Castle is about to sell out. It has
legit sell out.
sold 60,000 tickets thus far, according to WrestleTix on Twitter. The current capacity is 71,000. It's got 60,000 thus far. If people want to see it, to be honest with you, if they don't crown Drew,
We riot.
I don't know if we're gonna riot. They might riot. I'm good over here, but they might riot. I mean, this is the biggest show that probably. I mean, this is essentially Wrestlemania Part 2. At least that's how it should be treated, considering there's no pay-per-view for the month of August and we have all that time to build. We should be really, really preparing this for like Wrestlemania Part 2.
What I would say, look at the lead-in time they did. They announced this a long time ago. Tickets went on sale a while ago. It's seemingly following the same path of
They're
time.
starting to promote it already. They're starting to promote it a little bit with the
Yeah.
Sheamus and Drew program. So
Yeah. I think that I'm just saying, look at it in terms of like how they started that early and pushing for WrestleMania in LA. So it looks to be like these big events. They're going to be. I would expect them to start doing SummerSlam in like March. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good move for all parties to do that. But yeah, shout out to them. I think there's definitely, obviously a hype for it being the first time in a really long time, but there's a hype for like what could happen. I think you got to do a big moment there. I think you hold off and you wait and you give them a good moment and you give them something to those people out there a good moment to go home on.
oof, I agree. To be honest with you, I really, really agree. Um, we got Big E news.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to get surgery. So he had an interview essentially with, I believe it was ESPN. He said it's very sobering to hear that. I think to be something great to be continent. You can't spend all your time worrying about possibly fatal injuries or breaking your neck. You kind of have to go out there, be free in the moment. I think a lot of us performers don't spend a lot of time thinking about that stuff. I never thought I would be. He pretty much confirmed during this interview that he will not have to get surgery. He probably still will be out until next year. But surgery is not on the horizon for him. So you know what? Get well soon, Big E. I'm interested to see how Big E How does Big E fit within the WWE kind of climate? Do you put him back with the New Day? Do you try something new? What would you how would you go about kind of like Big E 2023?
um I think it just depends on who's the top guys at the time. Like I can't even call it. You know what I mean? Like we do have our established like 6 on the men's side, 6 on the women's side right now. I think that and I think it's going well. But I think like if you like, do you have like I don't Roman, will he be a heel at that time? I don't think he will be. You know, so it'll be whoever's kind of like the big bad at that time. I think you put him in that orbit. I know people will say give him the title right away, and I would say that's a smart thing to do. I think the sympathy will be on his side. You're able to book a better baby face by having him overcome that. So like that's actually, and I think you said this too, and I, you know, I'm glad no one took what you said a long time ago in the wrong way, where you said, you know, this might have been really good for him in order for like him to just take a break and restructure his character. So I say like where he goes is wherever he decides his character goes. Honestly.
I agree. Next bit of news. Goldberg. Talk about Goldberg in the news quite a bit lately this episode. He had an interview with CBS Sports and talked about actually his match in Saudi Arabia against the Fiend, and that he was originally going to lose that match. Now, as history tells you, he won that match, and everyone was very upset.
I wasn't.
um, not I. I mean, some could say that's where the pandemic truly started, but he won. He won. In Saudi Arabia 2020. He says, "Let's put it this way: I'm a talent. I do what the boss tells me to do. I flew to Saudi Arabia knowing that I was going to lose. Then somehow it changed and the finish was different. And it surely wasn't me because it's an extremely selfish move. Who the hell am I as a part time guy to come in and demand anything? Truly, I mean, I'm not. Vince gave me opportunities that, maybe I didn't deserve in the past. So I owe that man just about everything. I never said no to putting anybody over. Maybe back in WCW, I didn't agree with putting Jericho over or something like that, but not in a million years in that Fiend situation in Saudi would I have done that. No way in hell. Um, Listen, Goldberg got a bad rap for a long time. And maybe it's because it was his own agginess with the world of professional wrestling, and maybe he got that face of that. But the man, I don't think he's a selfish guy. I think he's very like he cares a lot about the things that he does and the way he's portrayed as well. That 2020, I mean, maybe one day we'll do something. I mean, I'll say one day we do something on that. We did talk about it. We
Yeah,
were
we did.
there. Um, I could see why they would do it. Roman versus Brock. I mean, Roman versus Goldberg is infinitely cooler than Roman versus Wyatt, which the Fiend, which we all thought that we were going to get.
It was the right decision. Right person won. If you know, at that time the idea was to do Roman versus Goldberg, it wasn't going to be Roman versus Fiend. I think that there was nothing in Roman's body and soul that ever wanted him to be in a program with that character, and he avoided it. And if Goldberg says it wasn't him, I think it was definitely Roman that said, "Fuck no, hell no."
Oh my god! All right, so we got hashtag Sasha Banks Watch. We definitely need a sound effect for this. Um, Something with you know what? Never mind. It's gonna be messy, but I don't want to do that. Sasha Banks spotted hanging out with Bailey. You
Ooh,
know, she's hanging out
scandalous.
with Bailey in Orlando. I know. However, the real bit of news this week, the real news that had everybody talking. Sasha Banks is booked for a convention, and 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 they were talking prices, and they was like, how is Sasha Banks charging $30,000, for appearance fees in this climate, in this era, as we're doing this now? What is she even fired? Oh, she's got to be gone by then. What are your
Don't
thoughts
they?
on this entire thing?
I mean, they do allow certain talents to do conventions. I know Kevin Owens does them quite often. So I don't think that there was any proof to be. I'm not listening to anything because we played this game 2 years ago. Remember? Like
I
we
do.
played this game with her
Yeah.
2 years ago,
Hmm.
and she ended up coming back. So I'm not trusting nothing until they say that she's gone.
I don't think she's gonna leave. Um,
The key here right now, right, is that
mhm.
no one is saying there's no. You know what's funny? There's no Naomi watch.
I mean, she on Instagram seemingly having a great time with her family, but yeah, that's not as
That's not a thing.
no.
So I really feel like Naomi got set up on a dummy move, bruh.
I mean, I feel like they both approached the business very differently, even though they kind of did this one thing together. They definitely approach it a little bit differently. And then also, yeah, they just approach things differently. Sasha doesn't want to be seen unless she's like taking photos somewhere else, and Naomi's perfectly fine sharing her life with her family like a normal person. Um, I think if you had to ask me, I think they'll be back. If they have not been released by now, they will be back
They brought,
because
they brought Ali back just to sit in the back. So they
I
bring in.
mean he tag teaming with Cedric Alexander now.
Oh, he
So
is.
yeah. I think he was on. I think he's on main event starting this week tag teaming with Cedric.
I never thought of that.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not
Me
mad at it at
neither.
all.
Wow.
Come on, the
Wow.
heart and soul. Come on now.
Wow. Yo, that's actually kind of hard. I fuck with that.
Yeah. So if he's gonna be back, at least he's having fun with his friends. Oh gosh. I don't want to get in a conversation about fun with friends because then we get a bunch of AEW talk. But at least he's having a good time doing it.
Yes.
Let's see. So another bit of news. Hold on, I'm going through this as once. Jade Cargill
Mhm.
deactivates her Twitter just
Yes.
as she passes the 500-day mark of being undefeated.
I don't like the
Started,
Goldberg comparison with that.
yeah, especially considering she's only had 35 matches.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Length of matches notwithstanding, you know, I think that let's. I'm trying to offend people, but like,
Mhm.
let's think of context, and a lot of this stuff that like obviously a lot of this shit is fake, you know,
Yeah,
whatever. But with Jade, it's like I would I would be way more excited about that record being broken if they actually did right by her in other ways. I think that like, and the fact that she's only had like a couple matches, she could be having way more matches and getting better. You know what I mean? I think there's way too often where she's not having matches on TV and not getting better. You know, and with Goldberg, it was different because he had a formula, and that formula always followed. I feel as though with Jade, a lot of times when I see her matches, they just kind of follow whatever the fuck is going on at the time. Jade
but I
should
also
not be
think
going,
no,
she
go
should be
ahead.
going 50-50 with a lot of these people. You know what I mean?
I agree. I also think that she needs to have more prominent programs. And I'm not saying her program, I mean, that confusing program, whether it's Athena or Chris Statlander, I have no idea who's going to be the actual number one contender for it. But she needs more prominent programs. Like, you can't, she's good right now, but also it can't, I feel like a lot of it's the same thing of just like she comes in, she beats someone ass, she comes in, she talks shit, and then she kind of leaves. But there's no true substance. I really truly feel like the only people who had real substance during their feuds in AEW are MJF and Chris Jericho. Of a variety of things can go on. They can kind of tell a story, they can have a promo, and maybe that's them pushing for that themselves. Maybe that's them going into the business for themselves and not necessarily going in business like that, but knowing what works best for them. And I
Mhm.
think we need a lot more of that creative structure with a lot of other, AEW things. A lot of things AEW wise are just matches. Jade's undefeated streak has, for the most part, been just matches. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They haven't had a very. This is, I think, truly her first big kind of like program, in my opinion.
And half the time
Um,
it's just promos, and half the time it's just promos and the same thing. It's like I love the like. Listen, let's put that energy of like she broke that record, but like, does she have the impact that Goldberg did? No, and I think that has a lot to do with how she's booked. I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. I'm saying it because I've watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
How would you have known that if like Sean Ross Sapp didn't tweet that? You know, like she did, like the end, like Goldberg was a moment. It was a thing. Like Jay could be a moment the same way Oscar was too. Jay could be a moment. They're not doing right by her to give her that moment. Not to me,
Absolutely.
no. Like, oh, come on, man. She should be destroying people. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're not gonna have her destroying people, she should be getting better. And I don't like actively see that. But I heard from a source that she deactivated because a lot of the hate she's been getting since they announced that.
Mm. Would it have happened to anybody else?
No.
Mm.
And that's the other side of
Interesting.
the coin there, where it's like that tribalism is so crazy, right, Meelz? That it's like they did that as a gotcha to Goldberg, but you end up galvanizing those fans where it's just like they could be saying less
Those
constructive
AEW
things.
fans.
Yeah, like they could be saying less constructive things. You know what I mean?
And I think if you feature a lot more women and you feature, I mean, I can't even say people of color because now they have, now we have tag team champions who are people of color, who are black people, and everyone's going up for it. Um, but I
Did
think
that
if you
matter?
feature,
Did that matter?
I mean, I didn't watch it, but
And the biggest in the large scheme of things, in the large scheme of
I think
things,
no, I think in the build up to it, I think it's just something that happened. I think they have great matches, but it ended up being something that happened. There was no kind of like true trajectory towards the championship. The trajectory was always just the matches with Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. It
yeah.
wasn't like, and we're coming for you next.
Mhm.
um or there wasn't any true like um battle between them and the Bucks. And to be honest with you, I think even by the time next week, Bucks probably gonna be like, all right, we're not even worrying about them belts anymore. Where FTR at? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
um
Like, but
so
it's two ways that goes. Is that they drop it to FTR and the Bucks didn't want to lose them to FTR, or they end up having just an inconsequential tag title reign because they're not actually going to be a focal point. It's like it just
but they
happened.
have great matches, so that's all what Tony Khan cares about.
Like as much as like a lot of the and I'll say this, like I actually do kind of enjoy the larger broad strokes of like Usos and the Prophets because they actually seem as though they don't like each other. Imagine you
Hmm.
gave that to Swerve and Keith against the Bucks, and or maybe Team Taz should have had those tag titles, and then they should have fought over it because just giving it to them on a random because and I hope Keith his personal issues, I hope that that all gets worked out, but it's like it you know what I mean? It seemed a little like here you go, you know? Am I capping?
Right.
It
No,
just
you're
seemed
not having it all.
it seemed a little like here you go, just for now, you know what I mean? Like things just happen, and we talk about this. I think we talked about this a couple hours ago. It's just like it's a TV show that's a bad TV show, and a lot of things on there don't matter. And to go back to the Jade point, it's like for her to break that record, and largely a lot of her matches didn't matter, or had no moments where it was like, damn, that was impressive. I think that speaks that's an indictment on the way that they book her and they book that TV show. They're not doing
Absolutely.
right by these people. You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right, and I think it's how the audience responds to it is basically how they've been conditioned to
Mm-hmm.
respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
We just got some breaking news.
Oh no.
Fightful Select, and we giving to you this for of course, subscribe to Fightful Select. Kenny Omega nearing return. Details says the cleaner could be headed back to action if what staff and talent in AEW have been told are true. Last week, Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that Young Bucks versus FTR3 was being held off on, as the Young Bucks have a major angle that has yet to come to fruition in the works. And Fightful Select poked around about the angle, what it could be. What we're told was at least a rumor being referred to by Meltzer involved Kenny Omega. Fightful Select has learned that the tentative plans that a certain staff was made aware of was that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were slated for a 6-man program for September's All Out pay-per-view. We've yet to confirm this with AEW officials, and anything could change, as is the nature of professional wrestling. There have been heavy changes and adjustments to the AEW tag team title scene in the past 2 months due to injury and Jeff Hardy's DUI. Omega has been out of action since shortly after losing the AEW World Championship in November, with a plethora of plethora of injuries. The star who seemed poised to feud with Adam Cole has why I say Adam Cole? Sorry, Adam Cole. Um,
For a Freudian slip.
who has been joined by Undisputed Era members. It's interesting they still call him Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, all of whom sidelined with injuries. Omega told Fightful in June that original timetable was to return for Forbidden Door, but he didn't want to risk it coming back too soon. He also told us briefly he returned to the road behind the scenes but removed himself as it felt like it was slowing his progress. AEW nor Kenny Omega have confirmed this news, and we do not have a specific return date in order thus far. This is all based on what talent and staff has been told. So the summer of injuries could potentially lead to a return of
Well, Kenny's was out before the summer. He's been out for like a year almost.
I know, but it could lead to, I would say, like, they need him now more than ever, right?
He'll be back Wednesday because usually when Fight for reports this, it happens literally the next day. I don't know why they be trying to cap and talk like, well, we just what we heard. I'm like, y'all don't be doing that shit for WWE news. Y'all be like, this is
y'all got Cousins and everybody else over there and shit. You know what I'm saying? Stop capping. Shills.
Stop capping, man.
Not
like Strong, come on, man, stop capping, bro. Like, he's coming back Wednesday, so get ready on Wednesday for him to be back. I don't know why they would not announce him. This show is a show that is in desperate need of
a big
moment.
Big thing. Yeah,
if he's coming back, I would not have fed that to a dirt sheet. I would put it on your fucking social media that he's coming back and he has an announcement on Wednesday. Tune in.
You treat. I don't even say announcement because I'm tired of that shit. But treat it like Triple H and O2. You know what I'm saying? Like, give it the attention it deserves. Kenny Omega is the biggest kind of, I guess, native star to AEW that has not gone to WWE.
But how would you bring him back and put him right with the heels again? Like bringing him back, and I'm like, that's my thing too. Is like bringing him back and putting him with two guys that the fans no longer want to see. They actively boo them and they chant FTR against them. It seems kind of crazy to me.
You course correct. You would change that up. It's interesting. I think they've been steadfast on this Young Bucks thing. Well, here's the thing: they might turn Young Bucks face. To be honest with you,
I'm telling they would get booed out the building. The FTR are their baby faces. I don't know why they would not keep them as that. You know what I'm saying? In the 6-man, who would be on FTR side on that? Do you think the single man?
I assume they wanted CM Punk at one point, but doesn't look like that's gonna be
Page.
But, you know, I guess they'd be sliding anybody in there. They'd slide anybody there. Just get a matching pair of tights and you good, bro.
Will it be another portal open? Is there anyone left that they could get?
Shoot, man. Good
Gargano,
Lord.
I guess. Gargano would make sense with FTR with their history, I guess.
But with Kenny Omega? I'm trying to think who would fit best with FTR would go against Kenny Omega. Huh, interesting. I really do think it'll probably be, well, it looks like Undisputed Elite probably going to be out for a bit. I'm assuming they're hopefully targeting them to be back in time for All Out pay-per-view, but it's not confirmed. So yeah. I can't imagine why you would still want to go with that plan if they're not going to be there. So,
Andrade said that he was going to be out with an injury, but then 2 days later announced that he was going to be in Ric Flair's final match.
God bless.
Does he do? Are we putting the fork in him in AEW?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I would do that.
Don't nobody say.
I thought you were going to say, "Are we putting the fork in Ric Flair?" Because especially, man, he was on Twitter getting beat up by Jeff Jarrett, or is that an old clip?
It's new. It's Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, is it?
Yo, Jeff Jarrett, no, he got a SummerSlam thing going on, right?
He get the bag wherever. You know, Vince didn't even give a shit. He said, "All right, go ahead."
Ain't he the director of live events too?
Yeah, he is. Which I can't think of a better place for him to be in. I think that's a really good place for him. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, is you just gonna stick the fork in him? Is it over with?
Yeah, I would say it's over with. I would say
Like
definitely this post run has been marred by lack of direction, creativity, and lack of direction and creativity. I would say that. I do think he's solid in the ring, but I think there's been a lack of direction that he blamed, I guess, for WWE and just lack activity at all. And now he has activity, but he still has not found that presence yet to kind of like
he even
make it
hired
all
his
work.
they even hired his best friend, and they still, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Man, this Ric Flair last match thing looks incredibly like. Why would so? Why is this a tag match now?
You know that nigga ain't doing no damn regular ass match.
Oh my god! I mean, God bless, God bless against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. This is it's interesting how this goes down, considering Jeff Jarrett's role in the WWE. I'm so and when is this going down?
Um,
I'm
when
looking
is
at it right now. First of all, him getting beat up, bloodied up in a parking lot by Jeff Jarrett, as if this is 2015 again.
during COVID,
It
by the
goes.
way,
Oh, it goes down. This goes down SummerSlam weekend, the day after SummerSlam.
on a Sunday. So you want to see Ric Flair in the ring a day after SummerSlam?
I mean, if
Hang
he's
it up,
still
old
around,
man. Hang it up, old man.
if he's
Man,
still around. Um, I was gonna say, I mean, there's some Cesaro news, but it's not really that thing.
what is it?
Uh, I've been following AEW for a while. When it came time for me to just kind of take a step back, I felt that AEW was a better fit for me, and blah blah blah. I'm having fun wrestling, and that's why I pick AEW. I thought it was time to move on from WWE. It's the same. It was the same before when I was in Ring of Honor. Now it's time to make. I felt like now it's time for me to take the step towards WWE. That's what I did, and now it's like, okay, now it's time for me to make the next step, and I'm happy I did. So, NBC Sports Boston, just to cite my
Whatever.
source.
I
God
listen.
bless.
Get the bag, bro. Yeah, get the bag, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
get the bag. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Um, Maybe we should get into shows for this week.
Yeah, we should.
Some
um,
sad, pathetic shows this week.
we're in the doldrums of it. I said last week. I feel like I can't agree with they're not just being a Cody there, but I can't agree with like they just don't know what to do with these people. I will say that I I enjoy how quickly they're getting to the matches on SummerSlam because I am kind of excited for SummerSlam. I will say that much.
I'm. I mean, I'm a watch. I can't say I'm excited, but I'm a watch. So they got me nonetheless. But I don't think I'm excited.
I don't think you get excited for anything. So
Nah. I've been excited for things. I mean, I'm excited for like, wow, Stone Cold's coming back. Wow, Cody's returning. All this
you
other
don't
stuff
need
like
to
that's
sound
for.
excited when you're saying that you were excited.
I mean, because I'm talking about this like months after, like it all happened. So I'm excited for that kind of stuff. This, it kind of seems like, a lot of things are happening that we've seen. So it's like, it's not, I'm, I don't know. And then it's coming really, really soon. So we'll see. Possibly the week of, I'll maybe be a lot more excited for all of this.
I mean,
I'm not going to MSG. I'm not going to MSG. Um, so we'll see.
I did enjoy that the that they had the Becky Bianca thing already set. They're making this look epic. So I did like that. But SmackDown. What happened on SmackDown?
Pat McAfee came out and cut a vociferous promo to kick off the show. Um, Returning from injury, vowing to destroy Happy Corbin, and then introducing the baby face of the century, Liv Morgan. So that was an interesting kickoff to SmackDown. Um, and Liv Morgan handedly beat Natalia in a championship contenders match. So how did he feel? How do you feel about this Liv Morgan as we're angling towards Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey, um, SummerSlam?
Championship looks good on her. It brightens her face. She looks great.
I'm worried about this match.
It's two baby faces. I don't know who will actually lead this match. I think Liv could
Yeah,
probably lead this match, but I think they'll hustle, man. I think they really will surprise people. I
I
think this
hope
is the
so.
I think this is the one match on the card that's kind of like no one. We've never seen it, so like we don't know really what to expect.
Right.
I'm gonna remain cautiously optimistic because I think of anyone this year who has really been working hard and getting their reps in and getting their shit in, it's been Liv Morgan. So I'll give her the I will give her the benefit of the doubt here and say like I'm pretty much kind of looking forward to this and to see how it shakes out.
I'd say, without going too much into prediction territory, the placement of this on the card, I think, for this match is very important.
Yeah, and SummerSlam's weird because it's a one night show. So
Yeah,
like a lot of like if there's things that happen like shocking surprises, it has to happen in the beginning, middle, or end. So we'll see.
absolutely. Um, Good lord, what else happened on SmackDown? Lacey Evans, she's doubling down on heel. Lacey Evans.
I didn't watch.
I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't interested.
Didn't watch.
Um, Listen, Austin Theory continues. He's a lightning rod of hate. Had a match with Madcap Moss that I would say, listen, if this was in Full Sail, it maybe goes 5 stars.
I listen. I enjoyed that match.
Are
I
we
really
looking at the future of the WWE here?
one of them, yeah, but one of them, but I enjoyed it. I didn't know that guy Riddick could work like that. He's a worker. He really is a
No, he's
worker.
good. I don't think, to be honest with you, if it was in my thing, I don't think he's cool enough to just be rocking just black ass trunks and
No,
just playing. You gotta have you gotta. We've just watched the A&E documentary of Goldberg. We've seen Stone Cold Steve Austin. They could wear black trunks because they had everything else in tow. Madcap Moss, you need a little bit more, my friend. Put a
I would
design on that shit.
argue. I would
That's
argue he's
right.
not. I would argue he's not cool enough for that name. So like at the end of the day, like
Madcap Moss does sound like a fucking fire rapper from, where would he be from? Nashville.
Sacramento. Uh, no, I thought it was a good match. I think what's the story here, right? Like the story here is that like there's so
So
many people that are gunning for him that could actually hinder him from cashing in. I do
yeah,
think they're laying it in too heavy, and I think the cash in will be the story of the night at SummerSlam.
I mean, he's gonna have to at this point because everybody else is after him. Like, if he does not cash in the SummerSlam, it will get taken from him at some point because he has got so many people. I mean, just in the Madcap match alone, it was interrupted by Sami Zayn and the Usos, who aren't even faces. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
So
I liked the moment when they came out because the fans popped for it because it's like if there's anyone that people hate um more than the Usos and the Bloodline, it's Austin Theory. So
absolutely,
it was an interesting dichotomy there where the Bloodline actually got a rare face pop for actually coming out to interrupt Austin Theory and to scare him off. So like what they're doing here is a lot better than what they were doing a month ago with him. Like
absolutely.
I think that there is absolutely some intrigue here as to how this ends up. They are way too horny to tell everyone that there's going to be some type of cash in shenanigans. I'm not willing to say that he's not going to complete the cash in. I'm not willing to say that, but they keep bringing up the 80%. They keep bringing up former Money in the Bank winners are actually coming after him now. Like it's intriguing. I dig it.
Um, we also got another. Yo, these, all right. We gotta. I mean, I was about to say we gotta stop, but then Raw kind of made it worse. But I can't have one of the Street Profits versus one of the Usos anymore. We've done it way too many times. Like, please stop. I don't care how fire the match is. I don't care how anything is. We gotta stop because I love Angelo Dawkins, but I don't need you to face Jimmy Uso, then Jay Uso, and then be running back the following month. I don't need to see
Yeah,
that happening again.
no.
Um, just to name that Jeff Jarrett is going to be the special referee, which I guess fits with the town, but to me doesn't fit with the match. I need to see Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett need to come out and like raise hell. Like, I feel like he needs to establish that he's the true authority in this match. I feel like just naming him to me was just like, okay, I guess.
Well, having him not be there was kind of odd.
Very odd. I'm like, aren't you the director of live events? Or am I bugging or not?
He is. You know, he is. He absolutely is.
Is this not a live event?
I don't know. I guess he's warm. He was shooting that flare thing.
Just being a flare in a parking lot.
Yeah, he was shooting that. That's why he was busy. So
got to do a retake. Not enough blood.
Don't blame him for that. Yeah, it was pretty much all of that. I'm wondering. I'm very concerned. I'm like, Zia Lee's not on the show. Shotzi's not on the show. I'm like, y'all need to be using these women on this show, man. Y'all actually have like a kind of cool roster. Raquel already in the background. I'm like, you cannot put Raquel to the background in favor of Lacey Evans. I'm sorry. Like if I had to choose one MAGA, I would probably choose Raquel because there's just clearly an upside. We've seen what Lacey can do. Move her to the side, bro.
Yeah, not impressed. Not impressed at all. We don't need to get. But here's the thing: it's because that she's serviceable enough on the mic. All right, she's not bad on the mic. Actually, she's good on the mic. I'm not even gonna give her that. She's good.
I don't care what she's saying, but she's good on the mic.
She's good on the mic, and I think that's the quality that puts her head and shoulders above everybody else on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the reason why. If Charlotte is not back, if Charlotte does not big boot for Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan in that SummerSlam match, we will likely be seeing Lacey Evans versus Liv Morgan up next.
Oh God!
In my opinion,
save us Charlotte or no?
Save us Charlotte, please. Save us draft. How about that? Need that. That can't come any sooner. To be honest with you, yeah, that was SmackDown. I mean, SmackDown wasn't really that. You could zoom past that show, to be honest with you. I had it on in the background.
The go home would be fun.
I'd imagine. It'll be live.
Yeah.
It'll be live and in Nashville and all the other stuff like that. We'll have some. Oh, and they're doing the every all hands on deck shows for next week.
Yep. So Roman will be on Raw. So
Roman will be on Raw. Brock is going to be here next week as well. Probably Ronda as well. Rey Mysterio, maybe something else. Let's get into Monday Night Raw and potentially one of the most questionable opens. Now, I've missed a lot of it because, we were handling some business on Monday. Yeah. What the hell?
I was so confused.
What's Titus O'Neal doing?
It's like
they writing Raw.
I don't know. I think your crisis comm shouldn't be this transparent. You know what I mean? And if you got to go out there and say, for one, they sent them on a dummy mission, and good on Titus. He's a company guy. He's gonna do what they ask him
from the city.
He's from there. You know what I'm saying? The crowd was visibly and verbally confused at what was going on. I heard somebody say "what" at one point after he said, "We're not going to talk about."
They got in their whats during that night. Trust me,
yeah.
They got more than enough whats in for the whole night.
The whats were going crazy all night, and
yeah, I'm like, Tampa, come on, y'all got to 2002. Come on, man, we got to get out of there. Y'all 20 years in the past. Relax.
It was so crazy that he came out. So basically, the gist of this promo is that Titus O'Neal came out and said WWE is basically not a place where we're going to talk about anything other than entertainment and having fun. And that's fine to do if the owner of your company isn't embroiled in a sex scandal with several employees that work there. You can do that. I think that's completely fine if you were just doing that on an off chance, if there was no controversy that's been looming over your head for the past 3 weeks. But that is what you're doing right now. And the thing about this is that it shows that there is just such a dissonance between wrestling and the real world. And I think it's why this isn't being reported so widely on other outlets, because what's real and what's fake here? They're taking something that's real, putting it in a ring where most of the things that happen in the ring are not real, and saying, hey, this is what we do here. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we have no clue. Is this an angle? Is he doing this to kind of lightly address it? Because at the end of the day, Meelz, they didn't need to address anything. They didn't need to say anything.
They absolutely didn't at this point. So yeah, they sent Titus on this dummy mission, and it just ended up being awkward. It's not even that viewed on YouTube. It's like one of the lowest things viewed on YouTube, to be honest with you.
And if the dislikes were on, it'd probably be the most disliked thing of last night.
Because it's so distant. Let me see if they put the comments on. Comments on would be dangerous. Comments sure on. Well, okay. First comment says, "So happy to see Titus as an ambassador. He's a beloved human being, beloved father, and husband."
All right, stop it there.
You know what? Fair enough. Well, no, there's a lot of great stuff there's a lot of great stuff about Titus on here,
and that's why they did it. And it's like, obviously, it's like, you know, the WWE speaking to a specific denomination where it is I don't want politics in my wrestling and shit like that. Like, that's fair. We don't get that anyway. They've all but stopped talking about Donald Trump. They've all but stopped talking about Linda McMahon.
I sorted it by most recent quotes, and the first quote that come up, it says, "Well, welcome to Monday Night Propaganda."
Well, what's different than anything else?
Oh God. Oh no. All right. Yeah. See, I shouldn't have looked this up.
Yeah. Just odd. It was like a 5-6 minute speech too. I thought he delivered it well.
Listen, if this is Make It a Win, the deluxe edition, he nailed that shit.
Do you think he'll go into politics in Florida? I think he would. I think he would be a really good Democratic candidate. The one thing about Titus that I see, he has been progressive in LGBT issues, racial issues. I think he's actually gone as far as to say, like, hey, we need to he hasn't said defund the police, which I'm like, all right, man, come on, nigga. But he has said that we need to reform the police, especially in Tampa Bay, stuff like that. Like, it will fly in the face of a lot of the former pro wrestlers like Matt Morgan and fucking Drake Wirtz, you know what I'm saying, who are like far right in politics there. Like, I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool if he went into politics. I think he got the look. He's beloved. I think what he does for the community is amazing. I think that it would just completely tone deaf to send that guy, a black man at that, out there doing that type of shit. Like, that's just tone deaf as fuck. I didn't enjoy that segment at all.
Hey man, Titus O'Neal for mayor. That might end up having to be the title of this podcast.
But my thing is this, right? Like, him and Vince actually got into a fight on camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, yo, if you're gonna have Titus do this, then make him the chairman. Shit.
Why not? You know what I'm saying? Why a black man with a East Asian person and Nick Khan and a woman, like, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy. That'd be cool. We got some announcements on before Raw. Riddle versus Seth Rollins. You know what? That's why I'm excited, because I think like that's gonna be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might not, we might not get the Cody match, but we're gonna get that work rate. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people have been waiting to see this. And I think Sermons, shout out to Sermons Domain. He was like, well, so who wins this? And I was like, we do, because I don't see there being a instance where this match isn't immediately one of the best matches on the show.
But I think Seth wins it. if I'm going for Seth, the guy who just finished losing 3 times in a row. That's my early prediction for next week. No, it's going to be a great match. The program is selling itself. We had KO return on Raw this week. It was always good to see KO. Had Riddle on the KO show. Looked like an ambush. Felt like an ambush. Tasted like an ambush. It was an ambush.
Well, I mean, KO didn't help, so.
I mean, you ain't gotta. I've seen enough, television shows to know when someone sets a trap.
Okay. They need to give him something to do if they're gonna push him away from Ezekiel. And also, stop acting like Ezekiel's like some young talent. Like, you got mad people backstage. Ezekiel can do something else than having the second match with Seth Rollins in 2 weeks. Come on, my nigga.
Yeah.
Like, what were y'all thinking? Like, that's my thing. Was like, what was y'all thinking this week with a lot of the shit on this show? Like, did y'all forget that y'all booked this 2 weeks ago?
if they announce Seth Rollins versus Mustafa Ali, I'm there. You know what I'm saying?
100%, 100%.
I'm there. Let's do it.
Have they
Let's
done
do it.
Seth and Theory yet? Make them. You know what I'm saying? Make them.
Let's
That
do
make no
it. But
sense.
this other stuff, nah, I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all. I'm not with it at all.
We are not tapped in for that.
This entire Raw was like, huh?
You had Becky at the top of the show come out and announce that she was facing the winner of Bianca versus Carmella. Of course, Carmella and Bianca had another match in which Bianca definitively defeated Carmella to go towards Becky Lynch for a SummerSlam. They're running it back. History is not on Bianca's side here, but we'll see. The WWE knows how to get you with emotional moments that have like potentially like ruined your childhood and or adulthood for a lot of these people. But
How do you? Well, let me ask you this: how do you book this match after you kind of did what they did at WrestleMania, where it kind of seemed like
my issue with this is like, why? How come it's not okay for there to be rematches on certain shows like this, especially with like, and I'll even put well, shit, AEW doesn't do them, but people are okay with Okada Tanahashi 10 and Okada Naito 10. It's like these people make magic. They make really great fucking matches. We've seen people like
well,
Cody and stuff have 3 good matches in a row. Let them work it out.
well, I think it's basically because it felt like a story, right? And you felt like you had a beginning, you felt you had a climax, and you felt like you had an ending already. And now it kind of feels like we're retreading the same plot over again. I
No, we're
think
not.
that's my main. I think that's my main thing with this one. I mean, what new are they establishing between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair?
This is actually the place, and it's her hometown too. It's actually the place where she lost in 26 seconds. She brought it right up. She said that was the lowest part of my career, and even though she beat her in Mania, and
Yeah,
she did
but she
that
beat her at
already.
Mania.
She did,
She
but
handled that.
she did that already. She won a title at Mania already. She hasn't beaten Becky at SummerSlam. She got to run that back. And plus, it's not. This is essentially your rubber match in terms of just the big events that they've done. I mean, I know they've had matches in between this, but this is essentially like your rubber match of big event matches that they've done, where it's like, okay, she got her at SummerSlam. Bianca ran it back at WrestleMania and beat her at that big event. And so it's 1-1 essentially in terms of just like having that on those big shows, on those big fours. So it's like, again, it's like she wants to overcome 20, like Mania wasn't the, okay, now they're saying, according to them, they're saying that Mania wasn't the redemption for 26 seconds. This one is.
I mean,
And
it was essentially the redemption for 26 seconds for me. And if this match wasn't happening, it would have been for everybody else.
But you're not the one telling the story.
I mean, yeah, I'm not the one telling the story, but I think it's a bad story. I think it's like,
I'm not saying I would never say anything between these two and them having I'm never going to complain about a match between these two. So you're not going to get me to do that.
I'm not trying to get you to do that. I'm explaining my own opinion. So, but it's when you get, like, you told the story, you've had this arc of this story, and you reach there, and it's redemption for 26 seconds, all this other stuff like that. Like, we built up to that point. We talked about this all on the lead to WrestleMania. So now that we're doing it again within the span of like these last 3 weeks, it's like, it doesn't hit the same for me. The match is going to be fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't hit the same for me. It's, it's, I can't buy. They're telling the story, the package is amazing, all the other stuff like that, but you know, I'm not as excited as I was about the WrestleMania match, and that's kind of it for me. But I know it's going to be great, but I'm just not as
The Mania
excited
match,
leading up
but
to it.
the plans changed for the Mania match. I don't think the plans changed for this one.
What do you mean?
I'm playing with you. No, I don't know what you want from it. I think that they
Well,
established.
no, it's not. It's not. You don't have to. You don't have to like go through like what I'm going to get out of it. It just is what it is. I'm just not at this point, but I can be next week. But I just overall think that story wise for me, it doesn't like completely shake out.
It's the run back to one. It's the run back to one of the greatest women's matches. One of the greatest matches. I'm even gonna dignify it with a gender. One of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. I'm getting another one. I've been excited for Okada Tanahashi 18 times. I've been excited for Nakamura Tanahashi 24 times. They always do great things in the ring. Let's run it back. If the story is that she left SummerSlam looking dumb as hell last year, and she don't want to do that shit again, it's up to Bianca and Becky and Molly and TJ and whoever's doing that shit to come up with something that hooks us and be like, okay, it all makes sense again. And it's Becky, her storytelling this year. I ain't doubting nothing she do with her, the way she been telling the story this year. I'm not doubting anything Becky does. And
Again,
Bianca is
I am
Bianca.
not doubting any of the abilities of these people in
I
this
said
match.
story. I didn't say match.
Story's still weak to me.
That's fine.
What else we got on this show?
Judgment Day, Mysterios. Next week they're celebrating 20 years of that would be so crazy if they interrupted Rey Mysterio's 20 years just to do a comeback for Edge.
That would be wild, but also like just bring Edge back. What are we doing?
They keep talking about Edge, they keep mentioning him in promos. I think it's pretty obvious Edge is coming back.
Is Dominic switching? Do you think Dominic goes to Judgment Day? And also, do you approve of him being as heavily recruited as he is, knowing that Dominic is Dominic?
I think being with his dad ain't been working, so why not put him with some real niggas?
So
you know what I'm saying? Why not? I mean, it ain't working with his dad. I think that
Damian Priest will show him the way, if you know what I'm saying.
The story I would tell, I know I'm not the guy with the book, with the pen, is that Edge does come back and Ray chooses Edge to be his partner and not Dominic. And Dominic feels a way about that. And then that leads to him joining Judgment Day because he's just like, I put my body on the line for you to save your life. And look at what I get for it. And you still looked over me. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's time for me to do it on my own. You know what I mean? And I think that would give Dominic an opportunity to stop having a moveset that's so much like his father, as a character that's so tied into his father, and allow him to do his own thing. And it gives Judgment Day a reason to, you know what I'm saying, have the stable. And I think it gives them a little bit more heat behind them, other than, other spooky stables that they've tried to do before. You know what I mean? It's like they keep talking about this new member. It's clearly not going to be Ciampa like people thought it was going to be. Dominic, to me, would be a surprising turn. It's just in how they do it and how long they stick with it. Because like I do think there's some blood in that stone if Edge comes back and he's a part of that with him and Ray. And I think that would be a really cool tag team. Just one more time for old time's sake. But I will say I'm intrigued by the angle if it does end up going that way.
If I had the book, Judgment Day would have kidnapped Dominic. And you either have the opportunity of Rey Mysterio and Edge saving Dominic, or Dominic coming out completely reformed, transformed by the Judgment Day and all their theories and all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe I would have done that. But, we don't have the book. Speaking of not having the book, Angela Dawkins face Omos. And then the Street Profits faces Omos and MVP on Monday Night Raw.
I really don't understand this booking.
Can Kevin Owens just not face Omos or something? Like,
can Veer not? Veer seems to be going babyface, which
Veer Hornman at this point now.
Thank you, God. They're using his sexiness as a character. Thank you. There's no way somebody that looks as cool as he does should be a snarling heel, monster heel. He should be like a cool babyface. Have him face Omos. I don't get it. Just do it. I want to see it. Or I want to see Bobby versus Veer.
Yo, speaking of Bobby, Bobby got the vid.
Why you say that?
He ain't been on Raw like the last 2 weeks.
He wasn't on last week?
Was he on last week? He wasn't on this week, I'll tell you that.
I thought he was on last week.
Wasn't even a mention of him.
He was on last week. He was in a main event. He was in a tag match with Riddle.
Where? Oh yeah. He was in what the hell? Where Bobby this week?
I think they've been a lot more liberal with giving people time off when they ask for it. So he's probably got time off.
On the road to SummerSlam?
So what? They didn't need him this week. I mean, but when I heard
when you got 5 niggas running after you, I guess you don't need Bobby Lashley, the guy he's facing at SummerSlam, to do anything else too.
When I heard that it was Riddle versus not Riddle, it was AJ versus Austin Theory, I was like, please God no. And then I actually watched the match and it was pretty good. So I'm sorry, AJ.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Listen, he had a good promo this week. That Theory guy, he had a good promo. He's been talking. He's a lot more serious and he's less goofy with it. He still looks
The,
goofy,
the
but he's a lot
selfie
more
is
serious.
gone. The selfie's gone. So take the selfie out of his Titantron, please.
I think they're going to angle towards that or think towards that. All right, you know what? I'll X it next week. I'll X the cash in question next week. Um, let's see. If you wanted to see women do stuff on a show, look no further than Monday Night Raw. Because in the span of 3 minutes, we had 4 different title reigns for the 24/7 championship. 2018 Alexa Bliss would be kicking 2022 Alexa Bliss right in the ribs.
Here's my thing. People be wanting Alexa to be in the top of the card until she's the top of the card. The same person that amassed like 4 title reigns in like a year, and people was like so tired of her, and then they're like, okay, give her something to do. It's like y'all be wanting it until it happened. Just like y'all wanted Charlotte to win the title until she did it, and then y'all ain't want it no more. So I
Hey
need to figure
man,
out. Y'all need to figure out, what y'all want to do, what y'all want to see her do. You know what I mean?
hey man, sticker in that 20 women battle royal on 2.0. I ain't gonna be mad.
That'd be crazy.
That would be wild as fuck.
That would be crazy. That would be nuts.
We closed the show. I thought it was very concerning, not concerning, but very weird that the Miz was closing the show, and then I was like, oh yeah, Logan Paul. I felt like he wasn't promoted enough that he's gonna be there that night,
I,
or
I
maybe
feel
I
like
didn't care.
I feel like I didn't know that. I watched it last night. I mean, it's fresh in my head here. Like they barely even said he was there. They didn't even show him like pull up in a limousine. Like,
So the Miz, after being goaded into having tiny balls, which is
how can you be goaded into having tiny balls? You either
I
have them or you don't.
I just he's just goaded into having them, and
I think
I
he
would
just had.
no, I'm concerned about. First of all, I think the running gag has ended, and I think we can kind of get off the tiny balls thing. Um, especially if we TV 14 now. Come on
I
now,
feel like it's a Miz
this isn't
thing that they
this isn't
keep.
Nickelodeon.
I feel like it's a Miz thing that they keep hammering home because he seems to be really enjoying the tiny balls thing. So
It's got to be a Bruce thing, maybe.
Bruce is
I don't know.
Bruce is actually out, I believe, with a shoulder injury. So
Might be zooming it in.
you're
But
gonna make it happen regardless. You're gonna make that narrative happen, bro. Like
I'm gonna make it happen. You Zoom meeting and make sure you put the balls in there. Um,
Jesus
Logan
Christ,
Paul versus The Miz at SummerSlam. It's going down. Very
it's a
good
sick comeback.
showing by Logan Paul.
I thought he looked good. Sorry, I was stretching. I thought he looked
Of
good.
course, of course. It's Miz segment. Why not refresh
I
yourself? I
thought the
guess.
promo was good too. I like that the what chance did not deter him. I think that we've even seen with some of the most ardent professionals like Damian Priest from earlier this year, where the yes or the what chance they'll rattle you. And Logan seemed to be like really on it. I thought he delivered a good babyface promo. I think it is going to be very tough for people to buy him as a babyface, however. I really do. It's going to be interesting to see what people how they react next week. I do almost feel as though he should really just still play up him being a kind of a douchebag, because I feel like it's just two douchebags going against each other. Obviously, Miz will probably get the most support, but I think if Logan starts showing off some really cool stuff, I do think he'll start getting a babyface reaction.
I also think I also agree. If he started showing off some cool stuff, he would. I think yeah, that's all I gotta say. But nonetheless, Logan Paul ends up being run off by The Miz and Ciampa. Ciampa closing
Yeah,
Monday Night Raw, man. Listen, come on, you better get you some.
listen, the smartest thing he could have ever done was say, "I will work with the Miz."
He probably said I love The Miz too. Probably say, yeah, of course. The Miz, that's my guy.
Put that suit on, man. Open that door, man. Let him in. Open that door.
All right, he ain't open no doors. Yeah, you ain't gotta belittle the man yet. But
Hey, open
you
that door,
know,
my man.
listen. I mean, that's the end of the very non-worthwhile Raw to me.
Not
Like
even that.
I
Not
was
even
watching
that.
the home run derby, and I don't even watch baseball, but that was interesting.
We're
Um,
at the point where the rosters that we have right now are currently constructed. We're kind of tired of seeing the matchups. So like
Absolutely.
it's
Well, it's
time
because
to
SmackDown got fleeced, and there was no, you know, SmackDown got all the Raw got all of SmackDown's top talent, and now they don't even showcase the little new talent that they got because SmackDown got fleeced. Are we ever going to agree to that? We're almost a year later.
What's the SummerSlam card look like? It's 8 matches already. God
They got two
damn.
more. They got two more.
Do you think Gunther kind of slides in there?
Nope. Nope.
I wonder what his first. His first pay per view could be Clash, so that's fine.
Yeah.
The first pay per view could be Clash.
It likely will be. But
I
I think
think they
he's
could.
defending that title on SmackDown. Not this week, but like in the future.
I think they solid on what they have here though. With the 8 matches they have, this is solid.
No, it's
It is
solid,
good.
but I don't think it's going to end there unless they got like a product placement. You know how they do. Battle Royal presented by Pizza Hut.
Oh, you know what the fuck they're gonna do? They're probably gonna do Drew and Sheamus on this shit too. Drew is
Oh
not
yeah,
missing this card.
more than likely, yeah.
Mm.
Presented
Drew,
by Pizza
Sheamus,
Hut.
maybe Nashville Street Fight or something like that.
Let me see. What's SummerSlam presented by this year? Hold on.
It's presented by Peacock.
What's Xfinity?
Oh, yeah.
A cable on a
No,
cut the
stop
cord.
it.
Cut the
Stop.
cord on a thing match.
We get a rare special guest referee thing here. I don't think we've seen a special guest referee match in quite some time in like an event like this.
Yeah. To be
Drew
honest with
Sheamus.
you, if they did Drew Sheamus, that probably should have got the special guest referee because
That could be the opener though. That could be a really hot opener. Or you could do Riddle Seth as the opener. Or you could do Lashley versus Theory as the opener. I think that works too because it plays up. Because I think the later Theory's matches, the less likely he is to cash in.
I feel like tag team is gonna open the show. Get him.
That's gonna go long though. That's gonna go long. I think that goes 20, 25. Do Roman and Brock never really go long? Do you think they go the distance this time?
Yeah, it's last man standing. They gotta at least wait till 10.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think you got the broad strokes here. I don't think the card looks terrible. Someone was calling it. Somebody's calling it like.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Just
we'll be predicting it. We'll be predicting it next week. Oh, you know what they're gonna add? They're gonna add whatever the Judgment Day are gonna do.
I hope so.
Yeah. So Sheamus Drew, I'm calling it Sheamus Drew, some type of stip match, and Ray and Edge versus Judgment Day.
I hope so.
This is the first SummerSlam to not be held in August. That's crazy. All right. So thank you guys for listening to the A Show.
We got Max Dupree's debuting his sister on SmackDown this week. Allegedly.
Jenny probably.
Shout out to Gunther, man. Everybody get a bag when you with Gunther. Got his girl. He says, "Yo, get your passport ready."
No, don't talk about Gunther this week, bro. Nah. I heard he had a ceiling, bro. I heard he on the ceiling, bro. He had a ceiling, bro. I'm not trying to hear it.
I refuse to go against my own thing of like until WWE proves it different in this case. It's very rare occasions these foreign heels don't have a ceiling, especially after they get beat for the first time.
Yeah, all right. For Meelz, I am Justin. Don't forget you have spot callers coming up very, very soon this week. We're going to be reviewing the Bash 2009. So sign up for our Patreon. $5 down gets you all of our shows early and you get extra content. And we have a lot of extra content to be announced very soon. Stay tuned for that, as well as our merch announcement that's coming up imminently. So we'll make sure you follow us at the A Show RNC for all the news on that first on Twitter. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week on the A Show. Peace.